Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Britton's Hangout Hour, episode 56. Let me check real quick. No, 55. I'm so bad with numbers. I apologize. 55. I'm here today with Whitney from Secret Sauce of Storycraft. Did I get that right?
Yeah, you got it right.
All right. So, hello. Introduce yourself.
Hello. Thanks for having me on. I think this will be fun.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's kind of interesting. I found your I don't actually remember where I found your channel. I think maybe it was from Matt's channel, Matt on Books.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of there's a lot of fantasy booktubers, but I don't see a lot of sci-fi booktubers. I mean, there's be like Matt's channel where it's science fiction sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that comment a lot. There's really a very small circle of people who do mostly science fiction. So,
Yeah, um, yeah, it's one of my favorite genres. I actually have a show going on right now called "The State of Science Fiction," where I'm trying to get people on. It's funny. I was asking Matt about it, and he's like, "Go bother Whitney, all right? I'm not an expert on it." And I'm like, oh, "Okay, maybe someday."
yeah, yeah.
So
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned Matt on Books because, they just started their Discord channel and I've been trying to go support them because Matt is somebody I'm just getting to know. I am actually pretty good friends with Joanna from Joanna Reads,
mm,
and so they have a couple of like really interesting discussions going about why science fiction people fans seem to like older, more classic science fiction. They seem to appreciate the older works in their genre more than fantasy folks do, which
yeah,
was a really interesting discussion that is over there on that Discord. So,
huh? I might have to check that out. I might. Yeah. Well, I'm intending the State of Science Fiction to be a limited show on my channel, but we'll see.
well, you'll have to tell me what the state of science fiction is then. I'm very curious to know.
Well, there's only one episode of it right now. It's basically where I talk with people about the state of science fiction as a genre, at least right now. I don't want to turn this into like a mini episode of the state of science fiction, but it's basically where I talk about why I and the guest appreciate science fiction and kind of our thoughts on where it might go as a genre, because I've noticed recently that kind of like sci-fi and fantasy. I mean, okay, they've always mixed, but like the storytelling has become a little similar to me.
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe it's
I,
just
I
maybe it's just me kind of like being off my rocker and being a purist, but I don't know. It's just kind of
well, I think it's always a spectrum, but if you don't want to have this discussion, we have to have a new topic because otherwise I could just go on and on and
Oh, I was
on.
about to say yeah. I'll save that for a state of science fiction episode, but yes, you cover sci-fi and fantasy on your channel. Sci-fi a lot. It's funny. I watched your um Octavia Butler because I actually read Kindred recently. I
Okay.
thought it was a fantastic book. Spoiler alert.
You are not wrong. Not wrong.
I read it. I'm like, yeah, this is great, and then I'm gonna have a discussion with it for the friend of mine because my friend Darko. So shout out to Darko if he watches this. He's like, I was originally just gonna read it, and then he's like, hey, I'm gonna read it at the same time, and I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, you want to read it together? I'm like, all right.
The
It's actually
inevitable buddy read.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
The accidental buddy read.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's happened a couple times. And I'm like, all right, yeah, let's do it. And yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I know you're a fan of Octavia Butler, so
Yeah.
you made a whole video about it. My God,
Oh my god.
it's one of your popular ones.
Yeah, you don't even want to know how much time I spent on that video. Like editing it and researching it. It was like probably at least a month to 2 months worth of effort. And I actually like couldn't come up with videos for like a week or two after that because I had put all of my efforts into that particular video.
I know what you mean. Though I don't know if I have the I don't want to say editing prowess because you might go, oh, I'm not that good at it, but it's yeah, my editing is, yours looks a lot better than mine does. I'll put it that way.
Well, a lot of people say that, but I mean, I think it's the kind of videos that you want to put out, like if you could just have really good conversations with people and your viewers are great with that, then you don't need a lot of editing, right?
Yeah.
I just like it because
Or your thumbnails look really good anyway. Mine is just, I don't know why YouTube hates me, but like every time I have like a lot of times when I put up thumbnails myself, I look like an ass. So yeah,
that's why I don't put myself on my thumbnails. I don't do it. I don't take good like shocking photos of like
yeah,
or
no,
whatever.
I don't know. No, it's not that. Like it'll just catch me in a really weird spot, like in the video, like because I don't freaking know how to make. Or well, I used to use Canva back in the day, and then I got lazy and stopped using it. So
Yeah.
Here we are now. I'm thinking about using it again because I'm like, good lord, I'm getting sick of just seeing myself making weird faces on the thumbnail YouTube chooses for me.
Yeah, usually it's not a good idea to let YouTube choose your thumbnails. I mean, it is really entertaining and funny though, which ones they pick.
Yeah, it's like YouTube is like, yeah, I don't know. I don't. Sometimes I don't get it with YouTube, but yeah. Back to Octavia Butler. I was kicking myself when I was reading Kindred because I was like, man, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why was I not reading that earlier?
Well, I think that's a great topic of discussion. Why don't more people pick up Octavia Butler? And why isn't she more of a popular science fiction notable author? She's getting that way very slowly but surely, but it's taken some time.
Yeah, she's like Le Guin. Like I've always wanted to try her, but I never tried her until now. And again, I read it and I was kind of kicking myself. I was like, wow, I should have been reading this earlier.
Yeah.
I know I even have Parable of the Sower over there. I haven't read it yet.
Ooh, I'm excited for you.
I've heard that one's really good. I don't know if you've ever watched Vlog Brothers, but I know John Green is a big admirer of that book.
I'm not familiar with them, but
Oh.
I think that's great. I think since you've seen my video, you already know that Parable of the Sower and Parable of Talents was really supposed to be like two halves of one story. So you really have to read the second half to get what she was trying to say,
Mm-hmm. I've only read Kindred so far, so I do. Since I read Kindred, I want to read more of her books. So yeah, I definitely hope to get to Parable of the Sower at some point. Maybe some of her other books, like is it Lilith or Lilith's Brood?
I think it's supposed to be Lilith's Brood. It's some kind of like biblical reference, kind of.
All right. Again, I'm probably gonna flub some words here because like I've had a busy day. It's like my brain's a little fried.
It's all good.
My brain's a little bit fried after but yeah, no, I've noticed Octavia Butler is a bit like the people who love her like she's a cult figure, I guess. Which that sounds bad, but like cult following, I guess, is a good word.
Yeah, people who love her really, really love her. I don't know. I can't explain it other than to say, go watch my video. I tried to explain it as much as possible. And one of the things that I'm most proud of in that video is I watched all of the interviews of her that are available online, and there are quite a lot. And I tried to take some of the best snippets from those and put them into that video so people could hear from her own voice what she thought.
Have you read N.K. Jemisin?
Yes, I have.
I've seen her praise her a lot, and I've seen like photos. I am shocked that she's 51. Like she looks.
Like, yeah, she looks great for her age, doesn't she?
I'm like, what? She's 51 years old? Oh god. I thought she was younger than that, at least in her 30s. Tells you how much I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually wanted to try the fifth. You know, it was funny. I do this other series now on my channel called "What's the Big Fuss," where I
Mhm.
talk about popular books. Um,
Mhm.
the fifth season was chosen, and I own it, so I'm like, oh, this would be great if that won. It
Mhm.
did not win, so yeah, I'm gonna have to hold off on it for a little longer.
Well, I mean, I would definitely vote for the fifth season. It was a fantastic book. I really enjoyed it. Perfect mix of. It was more like sci fantasy a little bit,
Uh-huh.
more fantasy than science fiction. But I think that her voice is you either love it or you hate it. I think it's
That's what I've
very good
seen, because I've
acting.
seen people who are like, hey, and then I've seen a lot of people who are just like, no.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, you watch I often ask people this. Have you ever watched Thomas from SFF 180 before?
Yes, actually, he's a friend of mine.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. I
Hmm.
was about to say he's one of like the forgotten people for some, like he's kind of like I'm a big fan of his work, but you know, he was one of the first people who got me into booktubing. So, big fan. Also we've become acquainted as of late. Cool guy.
He's
Um,
he's a very kind person, and he's been doing it since before BookTube. He had a book blog, and then that eventually moved into YouTube. It was a very cool origin story.
Yeah, he's like the Ebert of BookTube, if you ask
Yeah,
me.
he is.
But
He is definitely.
but yeah, I know if I remember right, he really enjoyed the fifth season and that whole trilogy. Again, I'm blanking on the name because again I'm kind of brain fried right now.
Yeah, it's
Um,
the Broken Earth
the Broken
trilogy.
Earth.
Yep. And I will say, like, very hot take here. I think the first book is perfect. I know that's crazy, but I really thought it was perfect. But the second and the third, while they're good, they have some obvious things that I would change. So they were less awesome than the first book for me.
Yes, but if I remember, he really liked the whole series. And then there's some people I'm acquainted with on the BookTube sphere who DNF'd it. But you
Yeah.
know, that's kind of the thing of human opinion. People are gonna have different reactions to things.
Well, I will say no spoilers, but she does make a very interesting point of view choice
I heard
where
she
she
writes in second person.
well, some of the chapters, so one of the characters is written in the you did this and you did that. And it is kind of a little strange to get used to at the beginning, but you have to, honestly, you have to get to the third book to understand why that choice was made. And it was made for a very specific purpose. But you have to get through the series to figure it out.
Yeah, that's about what I've heard. Oh yeah, Philip Chase also really liked it. So
Mhm. Yep.
you watch Philip Chase? Is
Yes, I know Philip Chase. I don't know him as a person, but I've heard of him and
like
seen his channel.
like I mean like have you watched like his videos and stuff?
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
um who's also a very sweet man. um
Yeah. I have yet to pick up his books. I've been meaning to, but
I hope
haven't
to
yet.
start The Way of Edan next
Mhm.
month, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm reading Sinlin Ascends right now cuz I've been wanting to check that one out for a bit.
Yeah, quite a booktube baby. I actually have been on the waiting list at my library for that book for like an ungodly amount of time, like 6 months maybe.
But yeah, I'm but yeah, I really going back to Kindred. I read Kindred
Mhm.
recently and I really dug it. I thought it was really good. Also, I'm kind of interested in that part of history. Well, Civil War, not really. Um,
Mhm.
well, American slavery is not a great time in American history. I would say, but she portrays it very well. I thought
Yeah,
I was pretty
I agree.
outraged. I think I think it was intentional though. So you know, it's
Well, I really like how she handles such a controversial topic and there isn't a whole lot of blame in that book. She kind of lets the reader decide how they want to feel about it, and I really enjoyed that.
Mm, yeah, I thought it was I thought there was a lot of interesting, like there was an interesting. This might be a little cerebral, but I thought it was an interesting take on the baby Hitler question. Like, what would you do in that situation?
Hmm.
Because there is such a thing as nature versus nurture. Is it does someone like that? Is it because that's who they are? Is that just something that they're, you know, something that is implemented into them? That sounded bad, but
I get what you're saying.
brain spazzing out here. I enjoyed it though. Um, well, I don't know if enjoyed is the right word. I really appreciated it.
She's a very intelligent author, and all of her books do that where they're very challenging. And I don't know, I really like them. She doesn't make anything easy for the reader, that's for sure.
No, I have seen a couple of interviews with her, and I don't know. This is I always pick up weird things like this, but when she talks, she like puckers her lips a little bit. I don't know
Hmm.
if she had like a lisp or something, but I just thought that was interesting. What? I don't know. I'm a weird guy like that. I notice things like that. But real I for one, I was kicking myself I didn't read her earlier, and two, I was really sad that she's gone because man, she was really good. Not that
Yeah,
old either.
I know. 53 is too early. They found a manuscript of an unfinished book in her house, called The Parable of the Trickster, that was supposed to be book three in the Parable of the Sowers, or Siege. It was going to be a trilogy, so kind of a sad day there.
Wait, I thought it was gonna be like more than three. Never mind.
It might have been,
I've
but we don't know because we can't ask her.
Unfortunately no. N.K. Jemisin seems to have taken her torch and run with it.
Yeah,
Um,
I would say they're very fundamentally different voices, but you can definitely see Octavia's influence on Jemison.
well, I don't know where I first heard. I think I first heard her because there was a controversy a few years ago because of there's the World Fantasy Award, and the award used to be a little caricature of H.P. Lovecraft, and well, H.P. Lovecraft has become a rather contentious figure in speculative fiction. I'll just keep it at that. And they were like, well, maybe we should replace the bust with Octavia Butler, maybe. And there was a whole debacle about that. So I think that's where I first heard of her.
Hmm, I hadn't heard of that.
Or either that, or I'd heard of Kindred somewhere. Maybe I was looking for stuff like because I really love the film 12 Years a Slave, which is it's a great film. I can't pronounce the guy's name, but he's in Serenity. He's the operative in Serenity. Um,
The operative?
in Serenity, the Firefly movie.
Yeah, yeah, I know what Serenity is. What do you mean the operative? You mean he's the captain, like Nathan Fillion?
He's the main bad guy of that movie.
Oh, oh, I see, I see.
Um, but yeah, it's basically about slavery, and I was kind of like, well, this book's kind of like 12 Years a Slave, just with time travel.
Yeah, well,
Also, really uncomfortable content.
yeah. She
Um,
does that really well. Uncomfortable content.
yeah, she does.
Hmm.
Um, in other words, really looking forward to what she has next. And again, I'm really sad I didn't read her until now.
Well, I would
Um,
definitely recommend pretty much everything she writes.
yeah. So,
Or I guess I have to say wrote because she's no longer with us. But
um, I've heard Fledgling is a little controversial, which is her
yep,
final book. Is that any
yep.
good?
I mean, like I said, all of her stuff is good. That one took me a little, like a hot minute. Like I mentioned in my video, the reasons why she chose what she chose were was not initially apparent to me. I had to sit down and think, why would she do this? And once you get to the end, you kind of get it. It takes a couple rereads, but she did do it for a purpose.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing about um, science fiction and fantasy. You can kind of do more stuff with it. You can kind of get away with more stuff, I think.
I think you're probably right.
I could be
I have
wrong.
I have to ask, what is right now your favorite science fiction book that you have read?
Oh,
Like,
man.
gotta decide right now. Let's go.
My favorite of all time is probably, I don't know if this is technically, if this isn't science fiction, Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury, but if that doesn't count, then
That definitely
A
counts. It
Scanner
counts.
Darkly, maybe.
Okay.
Um,
Either of those count.
well, I mean, I say Martian Chronicles if it counts because it's kind of like it's very much that Barsoom kind of soft science fiction. Like it's kind of
Hey, it happens on Mars. It counts.
okay, yeah. It happens on a real planet, so I guess it counts.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
great, I love that book a lot.
Hmm.
Fantastic, I think.
Yeah. I think the beginning was great. He has such an interesting wry sense of humor.
Oh yes, oh
Hmm.
yes.
Hmm.
Also, love Bourne. That's one of my hot takes. I think Bourne is Jeff Vandermeer's best book. It's my favorite of his anyway. My friend's like, my friend always gives me a hard time about it. He's always like, Southern Reach is way better, and I'm like,
I don't know.
just
I
didn't
have,
hit me the same. Like, I
yeah.
love the Southern Reach books. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy those books a lot. I think Jeff Vandermeer's a brilliant writer, but Bourne just like it hit me in
Yeah.
just the right way. I
Yeah.
can't explain it.
Well, Bourne was he kind of writes weird science fiction, but Bourne is the only book of his that I've read so far. So I'm
Oh, that's
hoping
a
to
place
pick
to
up
start.
his other stuff, but I haven't got there yet.
Southern Reach is really good if you ever
Hmm.
get around to reading that. I haven't read like Hummingbird Salamander yet,
Hmm.
but I think Vandermeer he's at least my favorite science fiction writer still living today. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Have you had a chance to pick up one of the other big cult classic books that are going around for science fiction? Like, have you read Hyperion or Dune?
I actually have Hyperion back there. I hope to read it sometime this year. I don't know when or if well, I'm definitely going to do it this year, but I don't know when I'm going to do it.
Hmm.
So, I have read Dune.
Hmm.
I have interesting opinions on Dune cuz I kind of go back and
Ooh,
forth on that one.
okay.
Um really enjoy Philip K. Dick's stuff. Well, when he's not high off his ass on drugs, he's really good.
Which is most of the time, but
Well, okay, when the drugs aren't like when he's not when he's not too druggy and out of his mind, he's pretty good. He's really good.
yeah, you'll have to let me know which books those are because I haven't encountered them yet.
But I like the weird stuff though. But I like the weirdness. It's just sometimes he
Well,
goes a little too far with it. Like Valis is freaking crazy. Like if you don't like he's completely out of his mind. Like don't read Valis.
yeah,
I wouldn't start there anyway. He's one of those you have to build up towards.
yeah. Well, I had a hot take on Philip K. Dick's books for a little while, although recently have been slightly converted.
Oh yeah,
Um,
what books of his have you read?
well, I read A Man in the High Castle, which I would personally burn. Um,
Mm.
Absolutely hated it.
Yeah, it's
um,
not for everyone.
and then I decided to pick up the one that he's most famous for, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
it's a good one.
Hated it slash like ambivalent sort of towards it. Maybe I need to like reread it or something,
It's one of
but
his most accessible. If that doesn't work for you, then
well, I read Ubik and absolutely loved it.
actually,
Ubik
I'm hoping to
was
read Ubik this year. I have it over here. I haven't read it yet.
yeah.
I want to though.
Ubik Ubik made me believe that he had something worth telling me. And he really showed me that he knows how to end books. I loved Ubik. It was chef kiss perfection.
You should read A Scanner Darkly then. I don't know what you would make of it, but I love that book.
Yeah, I've always hesitated on A Scanner Darkly. I was going to try the Three Stigmata of Palmer something or other.
Eldritch, yeah.
Yeah. I think I was going to try that one next because I got to tell you, I think he's kind of a little bit of a triggering author for me because I work in healthcare and we get to see a lot of very like substance abuse people. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just like,
Oh, then maybe don't
I'm just
read A
like
Scanner
not about
Darkly
it,
because
like,
it gets really raw about the drug abuse and just the damage.
yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and it's not that I can't take it. It's just that I've seen it plenty of times, and I just like I see it every day at work, so I don't want to see it in my reading too.
Also, I was watching one of your videos earlier today, and
Oh, well, thank you.
yeah, no problem. I like to. I guess it's kind of homework before I do these, as
Yeah,
well. But you said you read Embassy Town, which that's interesting. Was that your first China Mieville book?
that was my first China Medieval, and so far my
Wow,
only. Yeah.
wow, that's interesting. I haven't heard a lot of people who've started there. I started with The City in the City, which is really
Hmm.
good.
Yeah. I'm actually doing a buddy read of The City in the City later this year, um, so I'm hoping
Yeah,
to
it's a
pick
good
up
one. I want to
on
reread it again because when I read it the first time, I don't know if I was in the right headspace.
it.
I also
Hmm.
went to church camp too when I was reading it, so that didn't help
Maybe
matters.
not the best.
Uh, it's interesting because I
Hmm.
didn't vibe with which is another case I probably just wasn't feeling it, but I read
Hmm.
Embassy Town, I just wasn't feeling it for some
I'm
reason.
so surprised in that, just because looking through your videos and the kinds of books that you liked and didn't like. By the
Maybe
way,
I'll read it again. Maybe I'll
I,
read it
I
again.
I'm surprised because it's like that weird fiction. It's I don't know. It
Though you
was
mentioned you're hoping to read Perdido Street Station, which is
yeah.
my favorite of his work. So
Well, I'm
so far.
excited to pick it up.
Yeah, it's oh man, it's everything. Like
Well, I've heard
there's
a lot of people like
it's
the what,
fantasy,
is it
there's
is it
sci-fi in
detective?
there. There's like
Have you read the
eldritch horror
whole
in there. Yeah.
Have you read the whole trilogy?
Yes.
Okay, I've heard a lot of people say that the what is it? The Iron Council is better than the original book. I don't know if that's true or not. A lot of people like.
I didn't vibe with Iron Council, but it's but Perdido Street Station and The Scar are both excellent.
Okay,
Excellent
well,
stuff.
I'm excited to pick those up. I can't wait.
Um yeah, I think Mieville's really good. I hope to get to Unlondon this year. I don't know when I'm going to do that or if I'm going to do that, but or well, hopefully when. But there's a bunch of other books I want to read this year, so we'll see. Like Ubik, for that's one I've wanted to read for a very long time. I just never have settled down and gotten in the mood to read it.
Well, I recommend it, and it's nice and thin, and you could get through it in a week
Yeah, I've heard
easily.
it's a thin boy, but I heard he
Mhm.
packs a bunch in those 200 and like something pages.
I mean, all of Dick's novels are really thin and they're really weird.
Oh yeah, that's the best way to describe him. It's really strange.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
well, meth is a hell of a drug, so
he was
yeah.
he's a interesting. He was a fascinating man. If you ever read he was also probably mentally ill, which that
I think
makes sense.
unquestionably so.
Well, I mean, they didn't really know much about mental health as much as we do now, anyway. So,
Hmm.
yeah, there's a lot of great stuff in that. Oh,
Hmm.
thank you.
Speaking of disturbing, I also saw on your Goodreads that you have read semi recently, "Tender is the Flesh."
Oh yes, I did. My
Mhm.
friend Jason is a huge fan of that book, and he was like,
Okay.
"Go read it." So I did, and I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. What did you think of that ending?
Initially, I was kind of like, "What the fuck was that?" And then I was kind of like, "Oh, okay, okay, okay."
All right. So you kind of warmed up to it, sort of at the end.
It took me off guard for sure. I was kind of like, "What? Wait, okay."
Yeah. talk about changing the message and image of, like, I think it was more disturbing than the cannibalism involved in that book. Was that
Yeah.
ending?
I mean, I guess what disturbed me a lot about that book was, you know, I was kind of, I was telling my, I was kind of, I was actually talking to my friend Jason about this the other night. It's kind of a study of the banality of evil and just how easy it is for people to acclimate to things that are horrifying.
I mean, I would almost say that there's so many dystopian and science fiction novels that do that. That one definitely being one of them. Um, I don't know. I've been really encountering, especially last year and this year, a lot of the best books are the ones that stay with me. Are those books that like really make me depressed that humans are maybe not worth saving after all. You know, like, man, humans are just generally evil and we just destroy everything we touch. I definitely got that out of Embassy Town, if not several other books that I have read. Um,
Huh, that's interesting. I kind of got the vibe it was a lot about language, Embassy Town anyway.
well, it is, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to do any spoilers, but especially towards the end with them trying to struggle through the main problem in that book. It was just like, man, humans just ruin everything.
Yeah, it got weird when she started banging the like. I won't get into that.
Yeah, better not to. I don't know. There's a lot of that book was real hard to swallow for sure. Same is true about because I read that book back to back with Orcs and Crake. Woo,
Oh
that was
yeah,
a
that one's really that one will.
yeah, yeah.
Another hot take. I'm not that huge of a fan of The Handmaid's Tale,
Really?
but
Tell me why.
I do like Orcs and Craig. Now I should note I haven't read The Handmaid's Tale in dozens of years, but I remember not really caring for it. I don't know. I felt that world was in that book was like I don't want to say too absurd because well that's kind of that's kind of what you'd play with. I mean tender is the flesh if you think about it for a moment is pretty absurd, but
Mhm.
somehow she made it work. That's what I thought. I was kind of like, would that really happen in America? Then I'm like, I don't know. Again, I'll have to read it again at some point.
Yeah. See, that's a book that to me, like, I really like seeing a lot of authors play with ideas and say, okay, like, that's kind of what fantasy authors do too, is like, they're like, okay, suspend your disbelief. But, like, especially Atwood and some of those other dystopian authors are like, okay, let's just take this world and say, if this happened, what would it look like? What would it be like to live in this world? And I didn't think it was that far off, especially because some scary things have happened plenty of times in our history. So I don't
Sure, yeah.
know.
Um, one of my favorite dystopian novels is Brave New World, which I think is interesting. There's an interesting dialogue I've seen between 1984 and um, another great novel and Brave New World.
Hmm.
Um, one of the things that bothers me is when people say, "Oh, we're in 1984," and I'm just kind of shrugging. I'm like, I think we're more in Brave New World. I mean, my God, how many people do you see distracting themselves into oblivion?
Right. Well, I think that 1984 has become such a cultural reference
Mm-hmm.
that most people were either forced to read 1984 or they understand the significance of it, and it's just talked about a whole lot more than Brave New World.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I actually hoped to do a video on Brave New World versus 1984 and also the book We, which inspired them both.
That would be interesting. I would watch that.
Yeah.
I think I should note. I think both of them are fantastic books.
Hmm.
They should be read. Though I do have a soft spot for Animal Farm.
Oh,
Just
see, I think I was forced to read Animal Farm in high school, so I just also hate it. So,
they make you read Fahrenheit 451.
They did. Ironically, I didn't hate that book, but I sure hated Animal Farm.
Well,
I know. I think it's because they try to make you like dissect it out, and I just wasn't quite mature enough for the appreciation for which like what they were talking about. I didn't understand a lot of the Cold War and or World War II elements of it because I just wasn't there yet. So it was just too early for me.
yeah, I mean, I think what makes Animal Farm good, well, it's kind of a good textbook on how to write a good allegory. Because you could read it without the historical context and enjoy it on its own. But if you do know the historical context, then it's a much more richer reading experience, or at least I think it is.
Yeah. Well, it's that nuance or that layered complexity that I think really shows a very skilled author. And I don't deny that George Orwell was a very skilled storyteller. I just
Yeah, I want to read some of his like more political books at some point. See like what the see what all that's about. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was really interesting to have read We and really dived deep into.
I've never actually read We, though I know it
We,
inspired a lot of dystopian fiction.
yeah. It. I mean, it directly inspired. He basically stole the exact same story and just put it into a different context.
Mm.
It was really interesting. I don't know. I actually enjoyed We more than both of the other two. More than 1984 and Brave New World.
Have you ever read Anthem?
Yes, actually, I just finished Anthem like a couple of weeks ago. Actually,
What'd you think of that?
I thought it was a little bit more allegorical than the other stories were. It wasn't quite like, I mean, she didn't make a character that was believable, right? It wasn't like somebody that I could relate to or connect to, but she had a lot of really interesting similar ideas. It did very much remind me of We. So
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, you don't read Ayn Rand for the complex characters.
yeah. Although I was a little bit
Like,
intimidated
in
because
fact, I would probably assault many of her characters because, my God.
yeah, they're rough. I don't know. Anthem wasn't that bad. I mean,
No, the
granted, I
characters in
did.
Anthem aren't too bad, but if you get to like the Fountainhead, oh my God, characters in
Yeah.
that, like,
Well, I haven't read that
I
one.
wanted to punch Howard Rourke in his stupid face, like through the page. So
Yeah.
if you have a weak constitution against insufferable genius types, that might he might rub you the wrong way.
Yeah. Well, I considered reading it at some future point, although I guess I'll wait till I feel like I'm in the mood for a little bit of character torture first.
Oh yeah, I mean, if she had discovered BDSM, her life would have been much better, I think. But we won't go.
There's not a lot of authors you can say that about.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about The Sword of Truth, the Terry Goodkind book.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely despise, but he's read the series. I'm like, is it? It was because of the BDSM, isn't it? And he's like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. Because I mean, I'm not king.
Boy, I have some recommendations for him, but
I mean, not king shaming here. Do whatever you want, but
no. I mean, there's been some like pretty obscure, weird books that have come out that are, I don't know.
You know what's interesting about sci-fi, at least one of the interesting things I've noticed about sci-fi in general, the authors generally are really weird, interesting people. Like Arthur C. Clarke, Heinlein. Asimov was normal comparatively. Philip K. Dick.
Yeah, Robert Silverberg, very
James
interesting.
Tiptree Jr., who was a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Who murdered her husband and committed suicide.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Uh-huh.
I'll have to look up Alice Sheldon later.
Yeah, interesting people. There's this book I've wanted to read called Astounding, which basically is about all that. You know, L. Ron Hubbard, he founded a religion, you know? It's, you know, so yeah, with strange people. It's kind of like,
Well, I mean, I don't think Ron Hubbard intended to found a religion. I think those people just went a little crazy on his work. The same thing actually happened to Octavia Butler with her Earthseed series. So, although it's definitely a lot less mainstream.
why are science fiction writers always finding religions? Like, calm down, guys.
I think it's just that they happen to play with concepts and ideas, and then people are like, yeah, let's do that.
Or, you know, I mean, I haven't read any of Michael Moorcock's science fiction stuff, but Michael Moorcock's an interesting guy to read about, and also his stuff's pretty interesting as well. So,
I haven't read any of Michael Moorcock either.
He's good. He's good. You can start with Elric or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of my my red flag author I really like. I really like Heinlein. Now, well, Heinlein before he went crazy with the free love stuff. But, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that he's a red flag author. I think a lot of people like him, and there's still a lot of people out there who enjoy his stuff, so. I don't know, if you're into allegorical reading, have you read his Orphans in the Sky?
No, I have not.
Teeny tiny little book. It's a novella. And I thought, like, it was so, he went so over the top that it was crazy, but I thought it was great, so.
I'll have to check that out. I mean, it's weird, is that a lot of sci-fi is very ideas driven, so, you know.
Yeah.
Like, Childhood's End is one of my favorite science fiction novels, but, you know, I probably wouldn't say I liked it for the rich character development.
Well, I cannot wait for you to read Hyperion. I would, if there was a book that I could push to the front of your TBR, that would be the one.
Got it right here.
Yep, that's the one that I want you to read if you get a chance.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who are like, "Oh my gosh, dude, go read it." And I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
I'll check it out eventually. Apparently, it's like Canterbury's Tales in space.
Sort of. It's just a narrative tale about like 6 different pilgrims are telling their story of why they're doing what they're doing. So there's at least one story within that you're going to enjoy.
I also read Ted Chiang last year.
Oh, see, I own both of his books and haven't read anything other than Story of His Life. Or Story of Your Life. I guess that's what it's called.
I thought it was solid.
Mm-hmm.
Hell's the Absence of God I thought was really good. And Story of Your Life. I thought were really good.
I kind of have a hot take on that because, it inspired the movie Arrival.
Oh, yeah.
My hot take is I like Arrival better than Story of Your Life.
What? No, I'm kidding.
I know.
No,
I'm going to have to make a video on it one of these days. I've been intending to do that.
Arrival's a really good movie. Though I must say I like Prisoners from that director the most. I think that's good.
I haven't watched that one. Although I did also super love District 9, which it seems like everyone on the internet hates, and I absolutely adore.
Well, have you seen Elysium from the same guy?
I have seen Elysium. I feel meh on Elysium.
Okay, good. I was about to say I freaking hate that movie. Oh my
God!
I'm like, don't even. Oh, so yeah, I'm not going there. Not going to Elysium. Okay,
we'll back off. I'm sorry.
If I could find every copy of that film and burn it, I would. Anyway. Okay.
Too much Matt Damon? Okay. Is that the problem?
No, I don't hate Matt Damon. No, I like Good Will Hunting a lot.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well, that's respectable. You gotta like The Martian. I mean, come on.
that was good. You know, I
Mhm.
that's another one I kind of debate with my friend about because I won't pretend that The Martian is like the greatest sci-fi I've ever read, but I liked it. I thought it was good. It was solid. It's a good one if you want to have a good time. You know.
Well, it's a good science fiction for the masses. It's a really easy one to get started with. It's really relatable. It's very based in science and technology. There's a lot to be said about it.
I mean,
Have you read?
I don't know if it reaches the heights of a Vandermeer or a Vonnegut or a Bradbury, but it's good. I like it.
Right. Well, I mean, those are books that are significantly less allegedly accessible for the modern reader. Have you read some of his other stuff, like Project Hail Mary?
Not yet. I've heard he has like that voice, and he kind of just is stuck with it, and I'm just kind of like, kind of mm, I like seeing authors challenge themselves. I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah. Well, I will agree. I don't think he challenged himself as much as you may want to see. He sure wrote a heck of a good story. I mean, he knows what he's good at, and he really stuck with it.
I mean,
I
I'm
really
not
had
against
a
trying Project Hail Mary at some point. I mean, I'll probably read it and see how it goes, but I'm not in any rush. I guess was my point.
yeah.
Because I'm not against it. I watched the movie and I like.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Sorry about that. I'll just cut that bit out. My sometimes my internet gets weird with when you know.
Okay, I was like, I don't know what happened. I left and logged back on, and I couldn't figure it out. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It's me. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I like the movie of The Martian. It's
Okay.
pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I liked the movie and the book, and I actually thought it was really cool the way he wrote it. He just like put out like one chapter at a time just for random fans and said, okay, what I'm trying to do is see how you could actually survive every single event that I could think that could happen that could go wrong. And
Mm.
so he, because he's kind of a NASA nerd, so he would say, okay, so the first thing is you get left on Mars. So how could we extend our food? How could we, what happens then if that gets destroyed? What happens if this? And then he would just try to come up with ways to essentially kill Mark Watney and then try to see if he could come up with a way that he could survive it that would be realistic. And I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, I remember enjoying it and not feeling like it was too bogged down with the concepts. So it was nice. It was nice
Yeah.
reading that book. It's a pleasant reading experience. That book.
Yeah. Well, not every sci-fi can blow your mind, right? Sometimes
No,
you just need a good, fun read.
no. I mean, as much as I enjoy ruminations, um, sometimes I enjoy a good time. Though I have my limits. I wouldn't call Ready Player One peak sci-fi personally, but there's people who like it. And
Mm-hmm.
God bless them. God bless them for it.
See, I liked that book.
Oh,
I mean, I didn't like Ready Player 2, but, it was a fun time, whatever.
I liked Will Wheaton audiobook narrating it. I thought that made it a pleasant experience. But
Yeah.
um, but yeah.
I
What were you saying?
I was gonna say, well, I can take or leave Will Wheaton. Sometimes I think he's really on point, especially with certain books, and other ones I'm like, I wish somebody else was doing this particular one.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Will Wheaton can be a lot. I
Well, it seems that he has a monopoly on all Scalzi books, like all of
Scalzi's another one I've wanted to try for a while. I have a friend of mine who, well, he likes his sci-fi work, but he really likes his blog. But he really
them.
likes his blog that he does.
Mm-hmm. Well, Scalzi is actually like really influential in the science fiction world and the Hugo world. So that's one of the reasons why I think he constantly gets nominated is he really tries to help a lot of authors. He really tries to help the fandom. So there's a lot of good things about it, but I would say that he is probably somewhere in the realm of, I would put him in the same shelf or category as Andy Weir in that he's accessible and fun, but maybe not the highest brow sci-fi.
No, I guess I like a lot of sci-fi about human nature. I guess is so. I guess like that might sound a little pretentious, but yeah, no, I like wondering where we're gonna go, where we're going to be in the future anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're at right now is a interesting place. I mean,
Right.
I like Star Trek, so because it deals a lot with that.
I like Star Trek too. I actually just finished the one of the new series that they came out with.
I actually want to rewatch Deep Space Nine because I haven't seen it in a long time, and I was talking to a friend of mine about it the other day, and I just completely forgot some of the bits about it. I'm like, I gotta see it again because
Yeah.
I watched it when I was in middle school,
Oh wow.
and it blew my little 13-year-old mind.
I bet it did.
Might
Yeah.
might
Well,
be might be the best written Star Trek. At least it felt that to me. I think kind of I enjoyed it a lot.
yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to, I'm of the generation that really appreciated Next Generation. So, you know, I know that's a very popular take, but I really liked that one. I also liked Voyager. I also liked Deep Space Nine. I guess I'm just like generally happy about Star Trek in general because I also liked Strange New Worlds. So I
Isn't
don't
that the
know.
animated one?
No, that's Lower Decks. This one is the newest one that they did.
Mm.
Where they had Discovery, and then they had Strange New Worlds.
Mm. I see. Um, yeah, no, it's yeah, no, but yeah, Deep Space Nine for me, and
Hmm.
the cast in that one, and just what they did with the writing, I really like. I liked it a lot because you know,
Well, so what is the most, or you could even name several mind blowing, or because you said you like science fiction that really delves into the psyche. So,
mm.
like, what are the best of the best that you could come up with? And it can be a grouping if you want. It doesn't have to be just one.
Oh
Would you say
man.
it's Philip K. Dick for you, or what? What do you
Well,
think?
I mean, Philip K. Dick would be on there because he's cracked my brain open a couple times, and well, he just he can be overwhelming. Um, Ray Bradbury, I think he's just not only was he great at speculation and conceptual, thematic brilliance, but I think I think his um like he could have written anything he wanted, really, if you thought about it. But he loved science fiction, he loved fantasy, and he did it. Um,
Yeah, he has a really good storytelling and really good prose to making it accessible for readers of his time, for sure.
like I mentioned earlier, Jeff Vandermeer, the Southern
Hmm.
Reach trilogy, I think is one of the best science fiction things I've read in a very long time. I actually recently read Light by M. John Harrison, which I thought was really fascinating.
I've heard a lot about that book, but I haven't had a chance to pick it up
Um,
yet.
it's very strange. Um, I
Have
would
you read
say
that?
Roadside Picnic, but I actually like the film Stalker a lot better because like I felt what Tarkovsky did with that movie was really fascinating. Um,
I have gotten halfway through Stalker, and I mean, they just like they take forever to tell the story. I just like I get bored and do something else every
well, I
time.
mean, that's why I turned off all my stuff and I sat down and I watched it because I'm like, I gotta. It's one of those I have to pay attention to what's going on here.
So I haven't made it to the end, and I'm hoping the end will really pay off. But so far, it's
Um,
reminded me of like I don't know, like the Gone with the Wind era, where I'm like, just get there already.
Yeah. All You Zombies, which is a short story by Robert Heinlein. I really enjoyed that one a lot. That was the
I
one that
haven't
really
read that
sold
one.
me on Heinlein.
Hmm,
It's his take on. It's one of my favorite time travel stories, actually. Um,
okay, I'll check it out.
uh, I mean, I don't know how many comics you read. Transmetropolitan. I love that one a lot. It's really I mean, I've covered it on my channel, so I mean, you know, I won't say too much about it, but really good stuff. Gonzo journalism in the future.
Mhm.
Um, uh,
Have you read Blindsight?
no, I've heard that one mentioned a lot because like I've
Mhm.
watched like Words in Time and
Mhm.
SF or I think his name's SFF Voyage. His name's Daryl.
Oh,
Um,
I don't know him.
he actually invited him on my show. He said no. I would love to have him on at some point. If oh, there it goes. All right, more editing for me. Yay! I apologize. This my computer is I don't know. It's being weird at the moment. Where were we? Oh, you said Blind Sight.
Mhm.
No, I haven't read it, but I've heard it's good. Like I've heard Alistair Reynolds is good. I've heard Adrian Tchaikovsky's very good. I haven't read a lot of those guys. I really
Yeah,
should. I've been really bad at keeping up with sci-fi recently because I don't know. I like a lot of like I've really been like fan. I've been reading a lot of fantasy recently.
I know. I saw that on your Goodreads. I was kind of surprised. You read a lot of comic books and or graphic novels, or however you want to say that, and then also a lot of fantasy. So.
um, and I also I had a kick there where I was reading a bunch of noir books for a while, which another sci-fi book I thought was weird. I liked Gun with Occasional Music by Jonathan Lethem. That was fun. It's a fun little genre mashup. Um,
You know, I've been thinking about making a video of science fiction books that combine that detective, murder mystery, sci-fi noir combo. I think that there is something to be said about people who are looking for that.
yeah, it's yeah. I mean, those are two genres I really enjoy. So you know,
Mhm.
I'm definitely gonna um, check that out. I really like. I love Cowboy Bebop a lot. That is my favorite anime of all time. And I don't watch a lot of anime, so you know that says a lot. Oh yeah, Orcs and Crake. That was another one I really enjoyed.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I need to catch up with sci-fi because like my god, I'm so behind. Like if you ask me about Vandermeer, I'll talk your ear off, but about the others, I'm probably gonna blank. Probably gonna blank.
Are you are you currently reading anything right now?
I am reading Sinlin of Sins right now, which
Oh yeah,
is
that's right. You did mention that.
a
Hmm.
fantasy novel. Alan of Alexandria turned me on to this one, and it sounded really cool because you
Hmm.
know I like a lot of fantasy that is really weird and doesn't just you know. And I do love me some Lord of the Rings, and there are some
Hmm.
great Lord of the Rings inspired content out there. But
Hmm.
I do like books that do it a little differently. So that's what attracted me to Sinlin Ascends, and I'm digging it so far. It's
Hmm.
really makes me want to play a D&D game in that world. It's like very much in that kind of, you know, it's not really a RPG, but it is very much, you know, yeah, it's neat. I'm also reading The Crossing from Cormac McCarthy cuz
Ooh,
which is which I am inching through at the moment because he does not make it easy, let me tell you.
no, he does not.
I read Suttree last year, and yeah, that one took me about 2 months to read. So
Yeah, I don't blame you. Even Cormac's really thin, small books are, they're just so heavy. If anybody could outdo, I'm going to say China Medieval or Philip K. Dick in heaviness, it's going to be Cormac McCarthy. Like, woo,
well,
those
I
are
think I think he's heavy in a different way. He's just like bleak, just all over the place, and you're just like, bro, chill,
emotionally
dog. Like I'm
exhausting.
trying to. Have a good. I mean, it's the second book of his Border trilogy. It's a lot denser than the first one is, because the first one's more of like a straight coming of age adventure, you know.
Yeah.
Though of course in McCarthy style, because he's not a cheerful guy. At least his books are not cheerful.
Yeah.
Like his most optimistic book is a post-apocalyptic story. That's all you need to know about Cormac McCarthy.
Which one is his most optimistic?
The Road. That
Oh, that's his most optimistic. Oh.
Oh yeah, that one's oh dear. Yeah, that one yeah, because there's the carrying the fire thing. It's ultimately or well, you can think whatever you want, but that's what I think about it. Yeah, that's what I'm reading at the moment. I might start In Cold Blood. I'm really hoping to hear back from Colin, because I'm doing a buddy read with Colin from Colin's Corner of In Cold Blood. Hopefully, if all works out and I manage to complete Sinlin Ascends, I would like to try Wistful Ascending by my buddy Joe Byrne.
Ooh.
Because it's gonna be a little weird though, because I'm not used to reading superhero novels. But we'll see how it goes.
Well, that sounds like a fun read. Like,
Yeah,
it'll be a nice break after McCarthy.
Yeah, no. To be honest, I don't think I'm gonna complete The Crossing this month. It's gonna take a minute to get through that book because
Oh, I know. I haven't read tons of his stuff, but I do own a copy of his book Swan Song.
Oh, that's Robert McCammon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I haven't read that one,
I
but
get those mixed up for some reason.
I've wanted to read him for a very long time. My buddy John Minton has wanted me to read that book for a very long. A lot of people have wanted me to read Swan Song for a long time, so it's one on my list. I'm a big Stephen King fan, so that really appeals to me.
What is the best Stephen King book, in your opinion? Come on, you have to have an opinion on that, right?
I do, but it's really hard for me to settle on one.
Well, you can only pick one.
Personally, It.
Okay, why?
It is everything that King cares about and has talked about throughout his entire career. It is basically the epitome of everything he represents as a writer, I think.
Okay.
Though I also really dig 11/22/63 a lot. That is definitely his best modern book.
See, that's the only one I've ever read by him, and I loved it.
Oh, I was about to say that's a great fan. I was gonna say 11/22/63, but I'm like, best one. It's It. Or at least I think it's It. There's some people who might might say The Stand or The Dark. I mean, I haven't read The Dark Tower in a long time. I need to reread that as well. The Stand is good, though. The climax of that is not great because King is notoriously not great with endings. 11/22/63. One of the reasons I love that book is the ending is incredible. Also, the ending of It is really good too.
Okay, that's good to know. I thought the ending of 11/22/63 was perfect.
Oh yeah. No. I was about to say yeah. I would agree. That's You will not hear any argument from me. It's fantastic. I want to cover that book at some point, but it's super nice too because King, he's not that difficult to read. You can just kind of. He does talk about heavy topics in his books, but you can sit down and just be like,
I actually I never really understood that as somebody who had never really read a whole lot of his stuff. I was like, they're just having a conversation in a diner, and I'm like, just fine with it. He writes everyday fiction, and I'm all in for it.
Yeah, no, he's really good at I don't know if Mike's book reviews actually put it really well. He's like, he just does that slice of life stuff so well.
Yeah.
Where you're just riveted.
Yeah. I don't know how he does it, but I agree wholeheartedly.
And though, I will admit, there is his out there books, usually when it's his alien invasion stuff. So, the Tommy Knockers. and Dreamcatcher. I would probably not read those unless you're really curious. That's really when he was off the rails on. Also, well, Dreamcatcher is when he was recovering from an accident, so there you go. But Tommy Knockers is when he was off his rocker on drugs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say it is well, I mean, I don't it's in my top 5 King books, but I think it's his best one in terms of just, stuff I've read from him.
Oh.
So I don't know. There's probably going to be a bunch of comments being like, ha, no, but it's I can deal
Hey,
with
it's all just opinions.
Yeah, exactly. Also, he's written so much, so you're just like, oh man. And maybe I'll read like one of his books tomorrow and go like, dang it.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a writer who really I think he's overlooked a lot unfairly because he's so popular. But then again, so was Dickens.
Well, yeah. I also think that what's interesting about King is that his adaptations do at least equally as well as his stuff. Usually, not all the time. There's always exceptions. But he sells a lot of books, but he also he has a lot of very successful adaptations.
Well, a lot of his stuff is really good on adaptation, like Misery, Green Mile, Shawshank, fantastic films. Also, The Shining, of course. Though The Shining book and the movie are very different beasts. So just if you go in thinking it's going to be the movie, it's not.
That doesn't always make it a bad adaptation.
No, of course not. I mean, Annihilation, the movie, which I actually saw first before I read the book. Nothing at all like the book. Well, mostly not like the book. About 85% of it is not the book.
Okay, well, I have to ask the question then, because I have only seen the movie, not read the book. The bear, is that in the book?
Sadly, no. That was only in the. There is a. Oh wait, no, you've read Born. There is a gigantic bear, kaiju bear in that one.
Yeah, I've read that in there, but I'm just saying that the bear situation in that movie was probably one of my top 10 most disturbing things of maybe all time.
It's crazy. That one was crazy. I remember seeing that in the theaters. I was like, holy crap, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
There is a really creepy creature who scrawls this bizarro prayer, though. It's really well done. It's interesting because I think Annihilation, both the movie and book, I think both are really good for different reasons. Really depends on what you prefer. I don't know. I mean, we've only been talking for like an hour, so I don't know. But I think both of them are worth checking out because I think Vandermeer is great.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to read the Southern Reach trilogy, or at least start it and see what I think. If I have a lot of opinions, I'll probably make a video about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of those. I mean, it's not like other. It's those memes about like they're not like other girls. Like the Southern Reach trilogy is like that in science fiction.
Yeah.
It's not
I would probably. I'm sure that's going to be true.
There's also a lot of nature stuff in there. So if you like the atmosphere, nature stuff, you'll get a lot of that. Because Jeff Vandermeer is very passionate about that stuff. Yeah, no, it's an interesting decade of sci-fi that we're in because like it's more respected now, but it's
I think it's harder to break in because we're not seeing a lot of the publishers who are as interested in finding and publishing. A lot of people are self-publishing instead.
Yeah, I actually talked with Ryan Skeffington the other day, who's a self-published science fiction writer, which is kind of unusual because it's usually fantasy that's being self-published at the moment. So that was an interesting chat. And also we live in the same home state, so there you go about that.
Oh, there you go.
But I really yeah, it's interesting because science fiction is I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's in a weird spot right now, or at least I think it is. Which is why I started the State of Science Fiction, my other show. Which again, trying not to veer into that territory because
I was gonna say I have so many thoughts for you, but we'll try to hold off. Well, so how has having a channel, or has it at all, changed what you're picking up as far as what you're reading?
Well, well, it's interesting.
I know. I'm sorry. I have these conversations with my friends all the time.
No,
so.
I probably would not have read the first Law if it weren't for BookTube. I'd heard of it before BookTube, but so many people were like, "Pick it up, it's fantastic," and then I finally did, and what can I say? It's really good. Gentleman Bastards, same thing. I probably would have checked it out because I like thievery stuff, and it's also crime fiction as well as it is a fantasy epic. Dug that. I love the Lies of Locke Lamora. It's interesting because like a lot of my stuff, I'm trying to not veer too much into the popular stuff, at least not yet. I'm definitely, I'm not against it, but I'm just trying to, I feel like there's other books that I want to cover that aren't as covered as much on YouTube. So yeah, I try to keep a nice balance because I do want people to watch and engage with the videos.
Yeah.
Be like, I'll do like a video on the Vor, and people are just like, "What the fuck is that?" It's...
Yeah. Well, you have to have the balance of stuff people recognize versus stuff that people have already not recognized because they want to trust your opinion, but then also get new stuff. So it's always a balance.
Yeah, like I recorded my well, as of the recording of this, I recorded my review for Valentine's Day, which is Lolita. Which is definitely not a love story before anyone jumps at me in the comment section. But yes, I'm very pleased with that review. I'm gonna put it up tomorrow. Also, it's weird. My upload time is really slowed recently. I don't know why, but it's bizarre.
What do you mean? Like as you're uploading to YouTube, or like the number of videos you're putting out?
No, my upload time to YouTube. It's been like, it used to go for like 30 minutes. Now it's like 2 hours. And I'm like, all right. So I just made it today. I'm gonna put it up tomorrow. I'm gonna upload it tomorrow while I'm at my college. That's another thing I hear a lot when I do these. They're like, "God, you're so young. You're doing this stuff." And I'm like, man, I wish I was like you when I was a kid. And I'm like, oh man, like, I'm a dummy. Okay, like you guys are like, I appreciate that, but
yeah.
I was one of those guys who was looking for any reason not to do a BookTube channel because I'm really self-conscious when I'm on camera. But then I saw Brian Lee Durfee do it, and I'm like, you know what? If he can just sit there for 20 minutes on his phone and bullshit about books, what's my excuse? What the hell am I doing? So, now I'm here. And it's worked out for me. There's a lot of people who actually like what I have to say. Though, like, I see, like, my friends, like, my friend John Minton, I was his 100th subscriber, so I've known him for a while. And now he's at, like, 30,000. I'm like, dude, how did that happen? Or,
Yeah.
It's interesting stuff. It's interesting how that algorithm works. I mean, God, I'm doing a Lolita review. Like, people are going to be, like, watching that and being like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird mix, and the algorithm has to figure you out as much as you have to figure it out. And then I also don't think that anybody has the algorithm figured out.
Have you ever been recommended your own videos? Because that's happened to me. That's happened to me.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
man. Um. It's just, yeah, it's really, I.
Doing something right then, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. And I got some friends of the channel, which is really nice. Who
Hmm.
are kind of, some of them are friends of mine I was talking with before, BookTube, and they've kind of just hung out. Um,
Hmm.
like I covered. What other books have I checked out because of BookTube? Uh, hmm.
Do you spend
Well,
a lot of time watching BookTube, or is it
well,
mostly?
Sinlin of Sins. That I picked that up because of BookTube. Sharp, the Sharp books I've picked up because of YouTube.
Hmm.
Um, it's been really funny watching booktubers like Joanna pick up McCarthy. I've
Hmm.
been watching her videos, just kind of like watching her, seeing how they react, and then I can be the guy sitting in the background like, ha ha, they're figuring it out. You know,
Oh no.
it's an
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. It's funny what trends on BookTube, like manga, for instance. Like my God, that's blown up. You
I
cannot
know.
count how many freaking One Piece videos I have seen. I'm like, I.
I know, I know. Well, it's interesting because some booktubers seem to be able to get away with it. Like they seem to get more subscribers because of that, and then some people don't. I have a friend named Rachel from Shades of Orange
Oh, I
who,
know of her. Yeah.
yeah, she tried to do a little bit of the manga stuff because she does a whole lot, and her stuff didn't take off like Murphy Napier and Daniel Green stuff did.
Daniel
So.
Green was one of the first people I watched. Well, him and Thomas I watched first.
Yeah.
Though I would say I'm more inspired by Thomas because I like his style.
Hmm.
I like his style a lot. I like his more analytical. Like he really tries to delve into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Though sometimes I do think he summarizes a bit, but like again, I'm like, man, he articulates himself so well.
Yeah.
Fuck it, I don't care. Like keep at it.
Yeah.
I missed his
Yeah.
videos. He's been
Yeah.
really slow
He
recently.
he has really great thoughts, and he's been a book reviewer for a very long time. So he really has it down to an art of what to say, what not to say, how he rates his books.
Did you see his
There's a
fourth
lot.
wing? Did you see his fourth wing review?
Yes,
Oh,
actually,
it
he
was
called me
hilarious.
before he did that. It was great.
Oh,
It
it was
was.
hilarious.
Mhm.
I did my show, What's the Big Fuss, and
I saw you had read it too. I actually have read it also. So.
I read the first couple chapters. I'm like, I'm good, and then I watched Thomas's video. I'm like, dude,
Mhm.
this guy read my mind, and
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
Also, he's like, yeah, they fornicate in chapter 30. I don't know
Yeah.
why. That made me bust out laughing. I
Yeah.
guess. Um, I enjoy Thomas's work a lot. Um, I hope he gets back to more regular uploading because he's been kind of on and off the last couple years, but we'll see.
I think that's always his goal. I think he will. He does a lot of really interesting interviews with authors. He goes to a lot of the conferences. So um, he also did a review recently that convinced me I need to go out and get the book. His first 5-star of the year was The Strange.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. I'm gonna pick that one up.
Yeah, because of him, I'm
That's
looking at it.
another one. That was about to say that's another
Yeah,
one because of BookTube. I'm like I'm gonna bind that. I'm gonna read it because
yeah.
that sounds like that'll get me going.
It sounds like a lot of people who are really like how to craft a story and put it together. There's some interesting things being done with that one, so I'm pretty excited to pick that one up too.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I had heard of the guy who wrote it because he did this book called like North American Monsters,
Hmm.
which also sounds intriguing to me because like when I was growing up, I was a big fan of like monsters and like weird like Bigfoot, Yeti, Loch Ness. Like I love that stuff. Now, are they real? I won't go into that, but I'm really fascinated by them. nonetheless.
Well, if you're fascinated by it, you are the one person I know who would potentially appreciate. There's this old movie that I think is a European movie called Troll Hunter that's available on
I've heard of
Netflix.
this.
You should definitely check it out. It At first I thought it was just going to be a fun B grade sci-fi movie that I usually enjoy those, and it was a lot more than what I expected. I think you should check it out.
Oh yeah, I mean, speaking of sci-fi movies, um, yeah, I'm really picky about time travel, like, because time travel
Mm-hmm.
can be just such a mess if done. It's easy to do badly because
Yes.
you
Well, it's
know,
an easy cop out potentially. So.
yeah. But
Hmm.
like, I'll watch something like Primer or Time Crimes or like 12 Monkeys,
Oh,
and
12 Monkeys. Oh, one of my favorites.
it's actually my favorite time travel film.
Hmm.
Because that ending is just that kept me up for a few nights. I was like, oh my god, like,
Well, you've seen the series, right? Too.
I have not, but
Oh, what?
I have a friend who loves it, and he's telling me to go see it. So I do
Yeah,
want
you're
to try it
missing
at some
out.
point.
The series is incredible.
But love the film though.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I mean, are there like time travel novels? I'm sure there are, but I haven't.
Yeah, there's quite a few. The first most iconic one, I mean, I guess it's probably not the first, but Kindred's technically one.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Kindred.
yep, and then
Oh yeah, and the
Isaac.
Time Machine. I really dig the Time Machine.
There you go. The Time Machine is probably one of the more original ones. Same with Isaac Asimov's End of Eternity.
Mm, I'm on and off with Asimov. I mean, I love his stuff with AI because AI is one of my favorite tropes in sci-fi, and he kind of was the guy who was like, "Here's just a whole package of ideas about AI. There you go." I mean, he created the three laws of robotics, so there you go. Oh, geez. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
It didn't skip out this
your
time.
your your camera hasn't picked up yet, but I can hear your voice.
Oh, good. Stupid computer. My God. Anyway, um, oh, can you hear me? This freaking computer. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
This is just. And they said StreamYard would be easier. This is ridiculous. Oh, all right.
I'm getting you in and out. I got you a little bit now.
Okay, we're good. It's oh God. I don't know what's. They said StreamYard would be so much easier. They're like, quit being on Discord. But whatever. I don't care. What was I saying?
Yeah,
Oh yes, time travel. Oh yes,
time travel.
Asimov.
Yeah.
Um,
So you
yeah,
like his iRobot, and he was the guy who invented the three laws of robotics.
yes. But
But
sometimes I find that he gets a little too like into the ideas where you're like this is great conceptually, but like it would be fun if there was like you know more Star Trekkies like more Star Trekky Asimov because
well, I don't know.
I've read like Foundation a long
Hmm.
time ago and
Hmm.
was very impressed with it like on a technical level, but I was kind of like it's a nice little touchstone, but I
Yeah.
could be wrong. I haven't
Well,
read it in a very long time.
Foundation and Empire was for me the absolute best of that trilogy.
This is a banger. Yes, yes. Um, but aside from that, I haven't
Can
read
you
like
hear
his.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hi.
All right. We're here now. I'm gonna edit the rest of that stuff out because Streamyard is being stupid. So here we are. Hello again. What was
Yes.
I saying?
So you were talking to me about Isaac Asimov, and you were telling me that you read Foundation a long time ago. And I was asking you if you had read Foundation and Empire, which was for me better than Foundation.
Oh, I have not read that. Because
I
again,
see.
there's so much, like, there's Brian Aldiss, there's Roger Zelazny, there's Ursula K. Le Guin, who is very high on my list of people I want to try.
What is your
M. John Harrison, Oh, it seems she's paused now. Interesting. Seriously, it's like we're cursed here. Can you hear me now?
and how's your connection? Is it poor?
Well, it says it's on. It was saying on. Saying on StreamYard it was unstable, so that's why I moved it here. But I'm
Sounds like it might be your internet.
possibly, yeah. It's been weird for a while, but yeah. I'm.
Well, what's your Ursula Le Guin? What is the book that you're interested in, or you're not sure yet? What's the one you want to start with?
Yeah, God, she wrote so much. I don't know where to start with her. I'm thinking either I think it's the Lath of Heaven, or
Lathe of Heaven.
Lathe of Heaven,
Mm-hmm.
or Earthsea.
Okay. I would definitely recommend either Lathe of Heaven or the word for world is forest.
Haven't heard of this. But
Mhm.
yeah, Le Guin is kind of like Butler. She's kind of this like grand dame of sci-fi and fantasy.
Mhm.
I've always wanted to try her out.
I
You
think you'll like her. I think you'll like her.
And she seems to have that kind of cerebral, but it's still human.
Mhm.
Which, that's the golden zone for me. I'm like, that's the golden zone.
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah. Maybe the dispossessed. I don't know. Some or Hainish cycle maybe.
Well, the Hainer cycle is linked, but it's all individual standalones. Like you can start anywhere.
Well, yeah, that's what I've heard. That's what intrigues me
Mhm.
because I mean, as much as I do enjoy a series, cycles aren't done as much anymore. It kind of makes me sad.
Well, I'm glad because I think it's confusing because I kept wanting to pick her up and I was like, where do I start? And I didn't understand that you could pick it up anywhere. So I hate when they do that. Like, it's like, okay, they're all in the same universe, fine. Like, don't call it a cycle.
Um. I mean, I have read Dune. Like I said, Dune is. I have an interesting relationship with that book because I don't know, like thematically, it's really I think is quite fascinating. Um, just not a fan of the style or the way it's told. Just kind of didn't really do
So
much for me.
you're
Also,
not a fan of the movies?
the movies have actually grown on me, or at least the movie has. It's brilliantly visually it is amazing, but
Mhm.
the uh well, yeah, that's about it. Visual effects are amazing in that film.
Yeah, I would hope so, or it probably wouldn't be very popular as a movie.
No, no. I mean, I liked they did. I think might be a little bit of a spicy take here, but I actually think they did Harkonnen a little better than in the book because he's kind of this disgusting,
Mhm.
eh. In
Yeah.
that he feels more like this very kind of like I'm genuinely like, oh, he's kind of menacing, like I don't want to fuck with that guy.
Mhm.
But that is me. Oh, hello.
Hey.
um yeah, going back to it, I like Dune, or well, god damn it. Again, I apologize. The internet is quite strange on my end at the moment. Well, it says it's fully connected now, so I'll probably figure it out after we're done.
Yeah,
here.
you might need to call your provider or something.
Yeah, I'll be like, it's been weird the past couple weeks. What's going on here? But I digress.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dune's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I read it during COVID time, so yeah, I was really depressed. I have to restart my computer or something. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, hello? Am I back?
You're back for now.
Yeah, I might have to restart my computer if this keeps going, because I'm getting really irritated.
Yeah.
But
well, we can always stop too. I mean, we've been going for a while, so let me know.
I'll see if I can go on for a little longer. If it keeps going, then yeah, we are back. So yeah, we were talking about Asimov. Oh yeah.
Well, then we talked about Dune.
No, then we talked about Dune.
Mm-hmm.
Dune is fine. I'll keep it at that.
Right. Okay.
Or some other. I've heard Hyperion is has been compared to Dune. I don't know how accurate that is, but
not that accurate. Hyperion is definitely its own thing. Like I think. I mean, I guess I don't know you and your tastes very well, but I will tell you that I think Hyperion has at least a chance of becoming one of your new favorites because it's so complex. And I think that there's a story for everyone in Hyperion. Although, honest spoiler, it is my top favorite series of all time. So I am a little biased.
Oh, I thought they were going to actually spoil the book. I'm like, wait.
No.
Experiencing it.
I'm not going to ruin the story.
No, but yeah, no, I've I think if I remember, I saw Mike really liked the first Hyperion book anyway. So yeah, I'll see how it goes. I have a lot of friends who really enjoy Hyperion. So
yeah. There's a lot to like about it, but again, you have to know that it's 6 whole separate stories. So you may not like one, but if you push through, you may like several of the others. So
yeah, that's that's what I've heard. Again, I've heard it's like Canterbury Tales, which is it. I read some of those when I was in high school, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, I've never read them, but yeah.
It's an interesting hook for a sci-fi story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really different the way he puts it together, but for me, the thing that made it really great was that 4th book. That the way that it all tied everything together was incredible.
Yeah, no, I'll have to check it out at some point because I do enjoy like I said, I like cerebral sci-fi, but if there's like humanity in there, then like I'll dig it.
You may also really enjoy The Expanse.
I've heard a lot about The Expanse. I've seen it covered on YouTube, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I think I've even seen the almighty George R. R. Martin quote, interplanetary adventure as it ought to be written. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, especially that first book and or the first season of the TV show does have a film noir kind of vibe to one of its perspective elements. So you might really enjoy that.
Oh, well, say no more. I'll have to. There is one series. I think it's Tchaikovsky. It's has the spiders in it. Oh, I want to check that
Children
out.
of Time. Children of Time. Yeah. That's also on one of my top lists.
Because should I talk about it? It's about Perdido Street Station. May also have a giant weird spider in it, but I won't say much more.
I know nothing about that book other than it's like fantasy sci-fi and everyone loves it. So I'm just going in knowing nothing. I haven't even read the back of the book on that one.
Well, I will say there might be, definitely not a creepy weird spider in there. So
Good to know.
yeah, I don't know if you like spiders, but yeah, like I said before, I'm kind of behind on the sci-fi a little bit because again, that's why I started that show, which I'm really trying not to bring into this because oh man, if I go down that rabbit hole, it'll just turn into you know, which I guess that should bring it up. That would be a real fun show to do with you because you seem to have a lot of interesting views on sci-fi. Um, have you watched
I don't know how to take that, but I'm hoping that's a good thing.
Oh, it is a good thing. Have you watched Words in Time?
Yeah, Jonathan and I know each other.
Oh, well. I guess I shouldn't ask if you know them because you'll probably say yes, but I don't know. I like to be sure because sometimes
Yeah,
I'll be
no,
like,
it's
oh
good.
yeah, this guy, and they'll be like, what? And I'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
whoops,
No,
sorry.
I think I can claim him. I don't think he would be upset about it. We have a little tiny spat going on a little bit
Oh
about
no,
the
you did a
cover of
video with him,
Hyperion.
didn't you?
I've done several videos with him, yeah.
You did I saw one. The soft sci-fi, right? That was you. Didn't you do that one?
Yeah,
Was it hard
I did hard
sci-fi?
sci-fi and he did soft sci-fi.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
Mhm.
I thought so. I'm like
Mhm.
I'm like God. I'm like I feel dumb for asking that question now. Again,
That's
it's been
okay.
a long day.
It's all right. I don't expect you to memorize all my videos. It's all good.
It's been a long
We
day.
Yeah, we have a little tiff about the Hyperion cover, so you know.
I actually like the Hyperion cover I got back there,
Yeah,
though.
we're not friends anymore, so
What, you don't like it?
Oh, it's a terrible cover.
I wasn't being strong opinions about it. I just said it was okay. It's fine. I can deal with it. Though yeah, it does have that kind of. It's not Richard Anderson for sure. Damn it. The internet is being fucky again. If you didn't notice,
Yeah, I did.
that's. I'm sorry. You endured that laugh. I guess the internet is as brain fried as I am. Has it been reading Philip K. Dick novels? I hope not. It's definitely a possibility.
Maybe it's Skynet. You never know.
Skynet's just like, you know what? I'm gonna go out of my way and just screw with this 22-year-old man trying to do a podcast with this lovely lady here.
Indeed.
Talking about sci-fi. He's on to us.
Yeah, we're too close. We're too close to something.
I another kind of, it's not really a spicy take, I guess, because like most people really like the first Terminator film, but I actually like the first Terminator film more than Judgment Day. That might be a little spicy,
Ooh,
but
that is very spicy. Ooh.
I don't know. I like Kyle Reese. I like Michael Biehn a lot as Kyle Reese. He's an underrated character.
Yeah. Yeah, Terminator is one of those all-time best sci-fi movie genres that never
Also,
had a book.
oh yeah, that reminds me. Since well, they might have ripped off Harlan Ellison. They kind of did, but Harlan Ellison as well. I like him when he's on form. Anyway, I think he can be good. When he's not doing his little cantankerous song and dance, I think he's a good writer.
Yeah, the only thing I've ever read by him is his short story, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream,
Oh, I
and
was
it
about to
was
say that might
pure
be.
terror.
I was
That
about to.
was
I was
terrifying.
about to say that might be the most terrifying sci-fi story I've ever read in my life. Because
I'm not gonna lie, like, the fact that he came up with that is just I don't even know what to say, man. Like, you had a rough life, Ellison, you must have.
yeah, Harlan, he was a little twisted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Though I was talking to my friend John Minton from Talking Story. He actually met him because he used to work at his bookstore or something like that. He took him chili dogs one time.
Mhm.
He's very proud of himself for
I'm
that.
curious. Yeah.
Um, yeah, when he died, I was like, man, it's like the end of an era. He was around for a long time. Um,
Yeah. Well, Harlan Ellison, I think it was him, played a role in Octavia Butler's coming out as an
yes,
author.
he's
Mhm.
actually blurbed on the front of my Kindred copy. Okay. Anyway, um, saw he
Got a
blurbed
internet.
Kindred, and apparently he liked it a lot. So yeah,
Yeah, he was a big influence in her. So
yeah, he's an interesting kind of contradiction of a man, I would say.
yeah.
Kind of this cantankerous bastard, but like it's kind of there's this like warmth there a little bit.
I
Though
know
like
we're
if
kind of back to how science fiction authors are really strange people,
yeah,
right?
exactly. I was about to say that has like yeah, that's a nice symmetry there.
Yeah.
Um yeah, he another strange guy who somehow um I'm hating my computer tonight. Hmm. Okay. I think Harlan Ellison's spirit is not liking us talking about him. That has to be it. Because
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
um
man, this is gonna be a bitch to edit.
oh yeah, this is gonna be a big suck. But yeah, Harlan Ellison, weird guy.
Yep. Yep.
Interesting character. It's funny because Thomas is like he's. I think it's kind of funny. He just does not like Harlan Ellison, and I'm like, I can see why. He's not. He's not. He said it himself.
Yeah.
He's not the guy who sits in the corner and kind of keeps quiet. He'll tell you what he
Mhm.
thinks,
Yep.
which is nice, but at the same time, you have. He's one of those guys you have to take a break from. You know.
I would probably agree with that. I really need to read more of his stuff, but like I said, that's the only thing that I've ever gotten a hold of. A lot of his work is actually really hard to get a hold of.
Mm. Mm-hmm. They need to do like
So,
what they've done with the Conan stories. Get like Del Rey to just compile them together. And
mhm.
he also did some Star Trek. He also did some Trek, if I remember right.
I think he did, but again, it's really difficult to get a hold of his work. So I wouldn't know.
Yeah, no, he's an interesting, again, interesting man.
Mhm.
Another one of the wacky personalities in sci-fi.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, Octavia Butler wasn't too wacky, though. She might have unintentionally started a. You said earlier she might have unintentionally started a religion. That's all right.
I think she wasn't maybe a wacky person, but she has some really intense stories. Just you wait.
I'll have to check it out and see. But yeah, I thought Butler was really in that golden zone for me. So yeah, I'm definitely
Mhm.
excited to check out more of her stuff.
Yeah. Well, you'll definitely have to give it a shot. And, you know, I definitely have my recommendations video for how I think people should read it. So I don't think you can go wrong with it.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's I'm sad that I waited till now, but at the same time I'm glad I did because she's really good.
Yeah.
Jerry,
Well, you have
stop
to
it.
be ready for her stuff too. You have to be ready for any book, really. I mean, it has to hit you at the right time, you know?
I was really tempted to give Kindred 5 stars, but I'm still mulling it over. It's definitely a 4.5. I haven't really. I'm
What's
still.
that half star? What's the hesitation there?
I don't know. There's a lack of closure, I guess, the with the story, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense. So we'll see.
Well, I don't know. I felt pretty satisfied with the end.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. But no, it's one of those. There doesn't feel like there's a. I really don't like using this, but I'll use it for this special occasion. But there doesn't feel like there's a word in that story that feels out of place.
Almost all of her writing is like that. Like she intentionally put every single one in
It's
there
also
on
it's
purpose.
also like funny unexpectedly. Like there's some parts I laughed. Like I'm like this.
Yeah. Yeah, she has some humor. She's got jokes. She does.
Yeah, like when she's getting after Rufus for saying the word, I'm like, okay, oh, well, all right.
Let's bring it up. Might as well, right?
Yeah, it's Jerry, stop. She's always coming in and out. Give me a sec here. Let me just get out of there. Oh, cats. Let me tell you, flakiest animals on the planet. I was complaining about my cat, if you were curious. I don't know where I cut off. But yeah, cats are really flaky.
Good to know. That's why I have dogs.
Well, dogs are really well, dogs are also kind of flaky. I mean, what do you want? Like really needy animals or like flaky animals? But I digress.
I don't know. My dog's been in my lap the whole time, so he's just hanging out.
Oh, what kind of dog do you have?
I have little tiny dogs, so I would mess with them, but he's just chilling right there, so I don't wanna mess with
Is it like a
it and jinx
schnauzer? Because
myself.
I have a schnauzer.
Um, well, no, so I have a Maltese and a Cavalier Spaniel.
Mm, mm, I see. But I mean, you have a lot of videos here. It's ridiculous. you have
I do have a lot of videos, yes.
you have heist. You have heist. Oh, Skynet again is Skynet is really not liking our conversation. I guess.
I know.
You
But
got like
you were
heist.
saying something about the videos?
You got a like heist. You got two less, and more books. And Hugo Award. You got a lot of stuff on here, and horror sci-fi.
I think I'm pretty mostly sci-fi.
Yeah, yeah. Now I see a lot of favorite standalone fantasy novellas and sci-fi books for beginners, and Starship Troopers. Oh, that should be an
Mhm.
interesting video. I'll have to watch that after this,
Yeah.
because that's an interesting book and an interesting film.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty hot take. I actually when I first put that video out, I got like it was like the worst video I've ever done. And then it just slowly over time gains views. I still get comments on it every now and then.
Well, it's Heinlein, so that's probably gonna happen.
Mhm.
It's
Well, it's also a hot take for the Heinlein crew, so you'll see what I mean when you get there.
what did you not like it, or you're not gonna let me watch
No,
the video?
I mean, I don't know if you want me to ruin it or not, but I make the argument that I liked the movie more than I liked the book.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I've heard some people say that.
Yep.
It's also the influential sci-fi author trio, young adult. There's a lot of sci-fi here. In
Like
other words,
I do mostly sci-fi. Yeah.
yeah. Are there other genres you enjoy?
There's quite a few actually. I think that there's so many people out there who do fantasy. I actually read fantasy, love it, but there's so few people who are talking about science fiction. I also really enjoy historical fiction as well. I do the occasional
You read Neil
nonfiction book also.
Stevenson.
Yes, I have read many of Neil Stevenson books.
I was about to say, if I remember right, he's also done historical fiction with sci-fi, or
Yes, he
alongside
has.
sci-fi.
Yep. Yep. I actually have a couple of really big videos planned for later this year, and one of them is going to be the historical fiction sci-fi combo.
I see. I'll have to. I'll check that out then.
Yeah.
Because I like history a lot, but also that's interesting. You know, you like reading about the past and the future.
I know, right? Well, it's usually the past and then technology. They usually have some sort of combination there. There's a couple of books who do the past and aliens. So.
Oh yeah, I've heard The Strange kind of does that. It's kind of an alternate history of sorts.
Yeah.
But that makes me wonder, what did you not like so much about The Man in the High Castle?
Besides the fact that there was no plot and there was no execution, and he had the coolest idea of all time and did absolutely nothing with it but took you into an antique store. Besides that, you mean? Like, it was terrible. He did nothing with it.
Okay. All right. Though,
I mean, I don't know. I was so excited about it, and he did nothing with it. It's kind of like
there's a lot of talk about the I Ching in there, I don't know how to
yeah.
pronounce.
Well, apparently he allegedly wrote this book using the I Ching, and that's probably why it was so terrible.
I find it interesting as a study of a kind of backwards world, I guess, if you want to call it that. It's
Well, it's a cool idea.
It's not necessarily a kind of what you would typically. It's not like Wolfenstein. It's more like which is why I think makes PKD's work so interesting is his how he could combine these really bizarre, surreal situations with mundanity.
Well, like I said, I liked the idea. I think it was one of the coolest ideas maybe ever conceived, and he just didn't execute it.
It's fine. I mean, it's not one of my favorite PKD books. It's, you know, it's good for what it is.
It just could have been like to think that what it could have been if he hadn't, I don't know, been on drugs. It could have been amazing.
Though hilariously, that's the only one he won a Hugo for. So you know, I don't know what that says about Hugo.
Well, you know, hilariously, Red Shirts also won a Hugo.
You didn't like that? You didn't like that book?
I mean, did it deserve a Hugo? Like, I mean, it was fine.
I haven't read
but
it.
Was it? I mean, the answer is no. It did not. It was a fun book. I love John Scalzi's stuff. I really do. But was it literally the best science fiction book written that year? No, it was not.
It's also anticipated 2024 SFF reads. I see. Oh, have you read William Gibson at all? Or
yes, I can tell which of my videos you've watched and which you have not.
I know. I haven't watched a lot of them. I watched your Octavia Butler one, and I watched your I watched the one you did about 2024.
Yep.
Couple other ones.
I think of all of the videos, the ones that you should watch, the ones that we keep coming up with is there's a video I did called Change My Mind back in November. You should watch that one.
All right, I'll see if I'll jabber on about that We'll see how that
Yeah, I
goes.
talk about William Gibson and PKD and quite a few other authors.
Um, yeah. I mean, I'll have to make my. I did a review of A Scanner Darkly a long time ago, but it's really
Mhm.
terrible. I would really like to do another take on that
Yeah.
because I don't feel like it did that book justice.
Well, in fairness, he's written so many other books that why reread one when you could read another of his work?
Yeah, I mean, I have like Doctor Blood Money over here. I have Man in the High Castle. Uh, Ubik, which I'm hoping to read sometime this year, as we've
Yeah.
discussed.
Yeah. I really hope you read Ubik, but again, I discuss it and change my mind, so.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Oh, come on. There we go. Yeah, I'll have to check out Ubik. Maybe we can have a chat
Mhm.
about it. Though there's a couple YouTubers I like who have read, like Jimmy Nuts really enjoyed it from what I remember.
Mhm. Yeah, Jonathan from Words in Time also really likes it.
Yeah, also my friend Jordan from iWizard, his wife really dug it as well.
Mhm.
Though I think
Yep.
she's more of a science person anyway. Have you read Christopher Roncchio's books? Do you have any opinions on that?
Well, so I haven't completed the series. I read Empire of Silence, which is the first one. And I got halfway through Howling Dark, or not quite halfway through, I would just say like 40%. And I keep putting it down because I can't get through it.
Mm, mm, mm.
And I don't know why, because everyone I know is like, this is the best. But I'm really struggling with that one.
You know, it's
And
funny. That's
mm,
one of the books that inspired me to start the state of science fiction. Though Christopher Roccchio seems like a really interesting man. Like that would be an interesting person to talk to if I ever have him on the show at some point.
yeah. Well, I think he's pretty booktube friendly. Um, so I bet he would probably chat with you. I don't know. I haven't ever decided if I'm gonna invite authors on my channel yet or not because I feel like I don't know. There's a lot of pressure to ask the right questions, right?
Yeah, you know, I've
Mhm.
started to try and get some authors on here. Like, I'm gonna talk to A.R. Witham next episode, so that should be fun.
Hmm,
Who
that
did
should be
The
cool.
Legend of Blackjack? And I've talked to a couple other. I talked to my friend Curtis. Well, some of
Mhm,
these all. Well, I mean, I'm also a writer, so some of these people are friends of mine, so
mhm.
that helps. Um, but yeah, I really. Um, oh, there's another one. I talked to Joe Byrne. He's a cool guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting. I mean, it's always fun to talk to authors and talk to them about how they do their stuff, but
Yeah, no, it's and also I actually I was followed by Laird Barron, the cosmic horror writer, and on Twitter, and I was like, ooh, I gotta capitalize on this. So I asked him on to my show. He said yes. I just need to set up a time with him.
mm,
His health really took a nosedive, so hopefully he'll feel well enough. We can have a conversation at some point.
yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of interesting people out here. Um, you know, I'm always nervous I'll run out of people to talk to, but I'm like, well, there's still a lot of people I need to get to, so maybe not.
Well, I doubt you're ever gonna run out of people, and remember that at some point, you can start talking to them a second time, and because you've known them or because you had your previous conversation, you might be able to have,
Oh yeah,
like,
I've
a little
started
better
doing that,
rapport
but I
or
like to wait a
conversation.
while before I do that. You know.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. No, it's like Yeah, I've talked to, like, there's some I'm just friends with on here. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's it's an interesting career. Like, I don't have a lot of subscribers yet. I
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just because, like, I'm in that weird spot right now where I don't know what I want to be as a YouTuber. I'm just kind of like, this channel is just where I talk about whatever I want and just do whatever I want. And I guess YouTube, I don't know if people just, like, don't want to know that or don't want to. I don't know. I've stopped giving up at this point, or
Yeah.
I've stopped trying to
Well,
guess at this point.
the best advice I got was from Moid from Media Death Cult. He luckily talked with
That's
me
another
pretty early on.
that's another one I would love to talk to. He seems like an interesting person.
Yeah, he's very cool. But he was really helpful in me just trying to say you have to know the kinds of viewers that you want to attract. And until you can answer that question, like the algorithm isn't going to find those viewers for you. You have to show the algorithm the kinds of viewers you want, and then it can pull it in. And that was some of the best advice I got because I really started thinking, what are the kinds of videos that my audience that I want is going to want to watch? And then I started making those videos. Essentially, it's just the kind of stuff I would like to watch. So,
Well, yeah, that's what I was doing. I'm like, I just want to do stuff I want to do, and
Mhm.
if people like it, so be it. But then I see, like,
Mhm.
friends of mine just get to the stratosphere. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
I wanna know some of those secrets, man. But I'm figuring out as it goes along. Uh, yes. Hmm. But is there any other books you're hoping to cover soon? Like,
Well, I
or
could
read?
actually do a couple of upcoming videos that I'm working on. Um, I
Well, shit in a
um,
way, why don't you?
I just finished um completely editing and uploading to my channel. It's already pre-scheduled. My library reorganization. I've been meaning to do that for a very long time. I'm kind of I'm kind of nervous about it because it's also one of those videos where a lot of booktubers do these reorganization videos, and they're not always my favorite thing to watch. Like, you just like watch somebody who's like cleaning or putting books on a shelf, you know? And I don't know. I finally decided that I was just going to do it and record it and see how it went. Because I think some people might watch it just to see what kind of books I have in my library anyway. So that video is coming out, and I tried to make it decently short so that way it wouldn't be torture of just me putting books on the shelf or taking books off the shelf. And I also have book, a deep dive that's coming out. I'm hoping in March. That's going to be a deep dive on the three body problem. Um, to kind of explain it, are you a video game player?
Yes. I
Okay.
haven't
So
played
if I
in a
said the
while.
word, that's okay. If I said the word walkthrough for you, you know what a video game walkthrough
Yeah,
is,
I know what
right?
that means. Yes.
Okay. So I'm trying to do a deep dive into certain books, and I'm going to call it a talk through, but it's a book instead of a video game.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea is that if there's a book that's like particularly intimidating or hard, hopefully you can just go to the chapter section where I talk about it, and I will hopefully.
Oh, sorry. Continue what you were saying. The internet was being fucky again.
Oh yeah, where did I leave off?
You were talking about the talk through.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so essentially, I'm just going to do a talk through of the entire plot of Three Body Problem because my brother really wanted to read that book and he was very intimidated by it. So I got the idea from him that I'll just do a talk through the plot. So that way, if you're having a hard time reading it or you want to review it, we can talk about it. I don't know. It might not be a great idea, but I'm going to try it and see how it works.
Yeah, I'm doing similar things. I'm trying to figure out trying to do new stuff on my channel, like some of the stuff I was telling you about earlier. Like, you know, I did What's the Big Fuss. I did Fourth Wing. That was an interesting experience.
If I remember right, that video did actually pretty good, didn't it?
Yeah, it actually did. And I felt kind of dirty because I'm like, God, that's it. But, you know, whatever. Well, we've been going at it for a while. That came out wrong. I apologize. We've been talking for a while. So I might leave it here because, again, the internet's being, again, a little fucky. I apologize about that. But I've really enjoyed this conversation nonetheless, what we've managed to have.
Oh, absolutely,
So,
yeah.
If you want to shill anything before we get going, feel free.
I mean, nah, I just wanted to have a good conversation, so that's all I got.
All right, but like, you know, if you know, I like giving people the opportunity. If you like want to shill like your YouTube or, you know, Twitter or anything, feel free. Or if not, that's fine. I'll just link it down below. It's also
Yeah. Well, all I have is my YouTube channel, and obviously I have Goodreads and an Instagram account, but I'm not cool enough for Twitter. I'm still confused by it because apparently I'm really old. I don't know.
all right. Well, it's been fun. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Internet problems with notwithstanding. This is gonna be fun to edit. Until next time.
Yeah.